Our story begins with a quiet man named Frank Vega, an aging Vietnam War veteran who spent most of his life being overlooked and left behind by society. After serving honorably in Vietnam for nearly a decade, Frank returned home only to discover that his high school sweetheart had moved on, married someone else, and started a family. Heartbroken and jobless, Frank tried joining the police force, hoping his military experience would count for something, but life wasn't that kind. Rejected and without opportunities, Frank spent decades selling hot dogs from a cart just to make ends meet. But even that simple job gets taken from him when a flashy new food truck rolls in and steals his customers. With nothing left, Frank drifts through life until one day, everything changes. While riding a city bus, Frank witnesses two young punks harassing an elderly man. Most passengers look away, but not Frank. With lightning-fast reflexes and the strength of a soldier, he steps in and delivers a beatdown that leaves the thugs unconscious. A fellow passenger records it all, and the video goes viral. Overnight, Frank becomes an internet sensation. Everyone's talking about the mystery man who stood up for justice. They call him Badass. Suddenly, Frank's face is on t-shirts, street murals, and even news interviews. He's invited on talk shows and celebrated as a local hero. But not everything in Frank's life is turning around. 3 months after his viral fame, Frank's mother passes away, leaving her house and her dog. Seeking companionship, Frank invites his old war buddy Klondike Washington to move in. One night, Klondike hands Frank a mysterious flash drive linked to a safety deposit box, but he never gets a chance to explain what's on it. While heading to the store for cigarettes, Klondike is confronted by two dangerous men, Terrence and Sebastian. They demand the flash drive. Klondike refuses, and the confrontation turns deadly. Frank is devastated when he finds his best friend lying cold in the morgue. He pleads with the police to investigate, but it becomes clear that they aren't taking Klondike's murder seriously. Frank decides to do what the cops won't, bring his friend's killers to justice. He starts his investigation in the alley where Klondike was gunned down. There, he finds bullet casings and a locket with a woman's photo inside. At a pawn shop, the owner identifies the locket as belonging to a known felon, Terrence. Using this lead, Frank tracks down Terrence's wife, who tells him that Terrence used to play basketball at a nearby park. Frank heads to the park and questions the players, but they mock and threaten him. Bad move. Frank unleashes a flurry of fists and takes them all down. One of them finally gives him a new lead. Terrence might be connected to a guy named Ronaldo. Frank hunts down Ronaldo at a seedy bar, but once again he's met with hostility. Frank has no patience for games and fights his way to the truth. Ronaldo tells him that Terrence is dating a woman named Tanya. Meanwhile, we're introduced to Panther, a ruthless crime boss and the one truly pulling the strings. He's working closely with the city's corrupt mayor, Major Williams. Turns out the flash drive Klondike stole contains damning evidence of the mayor's illegal dealings, bribes, real estate scams, and plans to drill oil in poor neighborhoods. Klondike had once worked for Panther but betrayed him by stealing the drive. Now Panther is desperate to get it back before the truth is exposed. Back to Frank. With help from his curious young neighbor Martin, Frank begins digging deeper into what's on the drive. He pays a visit to Tanya at her massage parlor trying to find Terrence, but she's not giving anything away. So Frank follows her home and ambushes Terrence in her kitchen. Using some old-school persuasion, Frank gets Terrence to spill the truth. Panther ordered Klondike's hit because of the flash drive. Frank finally knows who's behind everything. But before confronting Panther, Frank makes a stop at Martin's apartment where he saves Martin's mom from her abusive ex. Frank becomes their protector, fixing their door and letting them stay with him for safety. Amber even invites Frank for lunch, and there's a hint of romance between them until Martin hilariously interrupts their kiss. The next day, Frank hands the flash drive over to Officer Malarkey, the only cop he still trusts. Then he goes after Panther directly, but Panther's waiting for him. Frank walks straight into a trap, gets captured, and is tortured with electric shocks. Still, Frank refuses to talk. Frustrated, Panther takes Frank's wallet and heads to his house, thinking the drive might be there. What Panther doesn't know is that Frank is always prepared. He breaks free, sets off a fiery explosion using oil drums, and escapes. Now, it's payback time. Panther flees, hijacking a bus, but Frank is right behind him, also in a bus. What follows is one of the wildest chase scenes ever, with buses crashing through traffic, smashing cars, and causing chaos. Eventually, both buses crash. Panther runs. Frank chases. Along the way, Frank runs into the same punks from the original bus scene. They try to jump him again, this time hoping to film it for likes, but Frank shuts that nonsense down fast. Panther finally reaches Frank's house and threatens Amber. Just in time, Frank bursts in and tackles him. They brawl through the living room onto the front yard where Amber jumps in to help. That gives Frank the upper hand. Police arrive and arrest Panther. Even better, the evidence from the flash drive goes public, exposing the mayor's crimes. Major Williams is arrested and justice is finally served. In the end, Frank, Amber, and Martin start a peaceful new life together. The neighborhood is safer, corruption is exposed, and Frank Vega, badass, proves that it's never too late to fight for what's right. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this recap, don't forget to hit that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe for more action-packed stories, only on Rafay Movie Recap. See you in the next one.